So welcome everyone to Midweek Matters. It's the last evening of November. We are very, very lucky this evening to have with us
October.
speakers from two great representations of the male camp and the female camp. We have this evening Improper Agency, who have done a fantastic campaign around menopause awareness. And then we have, sorry, thank you, Abby. It's the October. Welcome to Midweek Matters, the last one of October. This evening we have two great speakers, one from Improper Agency, who've done an amazing female menopause awareness campaign. Featuring our very own CEO, Emma Livingston. And then we're following on from that. We have James Martin, one of the ambassadors from Movember, which is next month. I'm just going to start with a little bit of housekeeping. So it's just for everyone to remember that this is a safe space for everyone to feel comfortable and share their thoughts. And we want everyone's to be respectful of each other's opinions, even if they don't agree with them, which everyone's entitled to. We want to be mindful of giving everyone an equal opportunity to share those thoughts. And as everyone who is a regular here knows, that we have many different ways of communicating. If you want to communicate, please feel free to put up your virtual hand, type in the chat, or for those using AAC, also use your devices. And we like to be able to support everyone in any different way that works best for them. What we're going to do is we're going to section the evening into two parts. We're going to start with Improper Agency and Leo, and she's going to do her presentation, and then we're going to do Q&A. And then we're going to go on to James, and then we're going to do Q&A. And the reason for sectioning it this way this evening is so that because both of these topics can be quite sensitive, if people want to ask questions and I want them to feel safe to ask questions, then we can always edit those questions out before we put them onto Facebook, onto our YouTube channel. So if you are happy to ask questions and you want them going onto the YouTube video, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to ask a question but you don't want it recorded, you won't want it edited out, please let us know and we will definitely not do that. So for this evening, to start with, we are very grateful to have Leonora Sanders, who is one of the founders and director of strategy and operations at Improper Agency. Improper is a woman-found, majority queer creative agency who work with brands and charities to create community-led campaigns that challenge structural inequality and activate genuine social and environmental change. Leonora Saunders is one of the founders and director of strategy and operations at Improper Agency. And this month, Improper launched a national-wide campaign shedding light on the many unknown signs of the menopause, with the aim of educating not just those going through the menopause, but the rest of society who should know more about the topic. It is my great pleasure to invite Leora to Midweek Matters. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. I am going to share my screen, so let's hope this works. It should do. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Great. So you should see Improper very big and very red on the screen. So I'm going to go straight into it. So we're a creative agency. We work on campaigns that challenge inequalities, as Miriam said, and try to activate social change and basically provide a platform for visibility to marginalised groups and prioritise those stories and those voices that we don't hear so much in mainstream media. So our menopause campaign was done in collaboration with Clear Channel, a name you may recognise. They're the screens that you see across towns and cities, you know, at the bus stops, above the motorways. So they're one of the kind of media platforms. And they have a platform for good. And we worked together to develop this campaign called Educate Yourself. The clue is in the title. So I'm going to go straight into a bit of the rationale behind the campaign and then show you the campaign kind of out in the wild, as it were, just so you can get a feel for the thinking behind the scenes. So without further ado, let's talk about the menopause, a scary topic in our society, something we don't talk about very often, something that people feel very uncomfortable talking about, even though it affects obviously just over half the population at any one point. So a few stats and statistics. It's estimated that almost 30% of women in the UK are in a menopause transition, which is a lot of women. 90% of women get menopausal symptoms. 1 in 10 quit their jobs due to menopause. And 87% of women surveyed would benefit from the media and press being more vocal about the menopause. We have a bit of a kind of silence around the issue, which is pretty astonishing considering the effect it has on people directly and also the effect it has on people indirectly. And there are many, many more statistics we could pull out here, but these were just some that shaped our thinking behind the campaign. So why this campaign? Because people don't know about the menopause, and actually they want to, because people are ignorant about what happens, and because we need positive education to reframe something that is perceived very negatively in our society. So menopause is often trivialized and made light of, seen as a joke. I'm sure we've all heard the, oh, it's just a hot flush, or going through the change, or, oh yeah, she's in a right old mood. I mean, there are so many kind of stereotypical comments to dismiss women and people experiencing menopause. Is often kind of stereotyped as an experience that essentially only kind of white old women experience, which is also obviously not the case. And actually, in reality, menopause is a serious and life-changing part of life. And we want to change this negative perception through this campaign, through a positive spin and positive education. So to encapsulate, put simply, we all need to know more because with knowledge comes change. And 93%, a huge figure of women surveyed, felt they would benefit from friends and family being more informed. So the main goal of the campaign was to educate, and not just the 87%, but the whole UK population. So this was very much a general knowledge campaign targeting everyone. We made it hard for ourselves. We gave ourselves the broadest possible audience. But really, this is not just about people experiencing menopause. This is about friends and partners and family who can better understand, better educate themselves, and better inform themselves so they can support people in their lives. And actually, it's also interesting, right? This is part of life. It's part of our bodies. It's part of hormonal makeup and hormonal changes. It's actually fascinating, and it's interesting to know more about kind of who we are and how we're made. So this is a great quote from one of our partners, Rachel Weiss, who's the Menopause Cafe founder. The pendulum has swung from put up and shut up about menopause to sensationalizing it. It's good we are talking more about menopause, but now we need to swing the pendulum to the middle and normalize menopause so that anyone who wants to talk about it can, so that people are not scared of it, and so that a diverse experience of menopause is depicted in the media, not just celebrity horror stories. And we felt this was pretty central to our thinking behind the campaign. We didn't want to create a kind of big sensationalist campaign. We didn't want to focus on, you know, one-dimensional celebrity stories. Actually, this is about creating a normal conversation, creating a platform for conversation, and trying to bring everyone along with us. So with this education, we wanted to normalize the menopause, dispel those damaging stereotypes about the menopause, and also break down some of the taboos around the menopause and those very unhelpful and negative and dismissive stereotypes. So it's not just about the hot flushes, and there are at least 48 signs and symptoms of menopause. and also this is just kind of a mind-blowing stat here that 3 in 4 people think menopause is a taboo subject. I mean, that kind of also blows my mind. So we took this idea, there are at least 48 signs and symptoms, not just the hot flushes, and that's what formed the basis of the educational piece of our campaign. And it was important with our approach. We had 2 central things. We wanted to make light of this. We wanted to have this conversation with humour. We wanted to have this conversation with a lightness of touch. We wanted to bring people along because they were interested or they were engaged and they wanted to hear more about it. This wasn't just about creating a really big, serious, heavy conversation, but it was obviously also important to strike the balance between ensuring that whilst we're being kind of light and bringing humor into it, we are also always acknowledging the seriousness of the issue. You know, we heard before 1 in 10 women lose their jobs because of menopause. And that's probably just scratching the surface. So it was always important to be respectful with the campaign and ensure that people's experiences were reflected. And it was also another central part of our thinking. It was vital to the campaign to include a diversity of experience. As I mentioned before, you know, it's not just kind of little old ladies that are experiencing menopause. This is actually something that affects a diverse group of people. So, you know, women, queer people, trans and non-binary people are affected by menopause. Disabled people are affected by menopause, women of colour, you know, every single marginalised group that you can look at is not really represented in this conversation. And so we wanted to make sure that this was normalised. There was a broad experience reflected without kind of targeting a marginalised group to kind of, I suppose, kind of like shine a disproportionate light. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to make it a kind of special case. It was more like, this is the normal range. These are normal people. Everyone hopefully can see themselves somewhere in this campaign. So that was also key to our planning of this. So straight into it. This was the approach that we took. We took the signs of menopause and we just played around. And each person who is featured in the campaign is somewhere along their menopause journey. And the symptom that they are representing is not necessarily a symptom that they experience themselves. It's just one that we pulled out that we wanted to show as part of the campaign. So we have Ola here doing bringing everything to blow them away with our digestive issues. So these went live on Clear Channel platforms for 2 weeks leading up to World Menopause Day. And with each piece of artwork, we obviously had our kind of playful hook to bring people in, but we also redirected people to educate yourself, go to our website, find resources, learn more. There was always a kind of seriousness and respect underlining the campaign. This is Zeph Churchill, one of our participants. Zeph is actually a former nurse turned comedian, and she does a whole menopause show with this massive pair of tits. So obviously that had to feature. And interestingly enough, you know, there's a mark on the boobs just to kind of illustrate that actually one of the symptoms of menopause is changes in the breasts. And that's something that's really important to keep checking. So it's just kind of encouraging people to be aware of those changes and be aware that menopause shows up in unexpected ways. And then I'll just go through the rest of the creative so you can see the different symptoms. Hopefully they speak for themselves. Irritable, don't give a duck. Mood swings, hold on tight. Tingling sensations, she's electric. Burning mouth, twisted fire starter, which is a reference that maybe some people will get more than others, depending on your taste in music. Feeling dizzy, don't stop spinning. Feeling cold, a lesser known symptom. Everyone associates menopause with hot flushes, but you can also get cold flushes too. Heart palpitations, feel the rhythm. And of course, here we can see Emma as part of the dancing troupe here on the left. um, and nail changes, uh, menopause can cause uh, dry and not dry, brittle nails and changes in appearance. And also interesting, Cherie here, this was another thing that personally I found this so kind of educational. So Cherie, who we see here, she actually went through the menopause when she was 15. She was our youngest participant, which I had no idea about actually. And apparently it's kind of 1 in 10,000 women that can experience menopause before the age of 20, which is kind of amazing to understand. So with our campaign, as well as kind of, we were really proud of the kind of different representation of marginalized groups that we managed to have, but also really kind of, we were really pleased to have people experiencing different stages of menopause. So we also had women from pretty much every generation in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So it just kind of quite eye-opening how menopause really does affect such a broad swathe of women. And then here they are all at once for you to have a look at. And that's kind of the end of my little presentation about it. So I will stop talking now, and hopefully you can enjoy some of the artwork.
Thank you so much for that, Leo. They are bright and fun, and says exactly what they do on the tin, which is really in a very entertaining way, though. So, big congratulations. And I know Emma's shared the metamorphosis of not only her nails from to bright pink, and also her hair, which you can't quite see in the picture, but it was a frizzy at the front, so she really did embrace it wholeheartedly. So
Yeah, she was a disco queen for
yeah,
sure.
it was fantastic. Um, can I ask if we can stop sharing the screen just to
Sure.
see everyone? Thank you so much for sharing them all in their wonderful glory, though. Um, and I wanted to open up with the first question, if that's okay, and then if anyone else has anything that they wanted to ask, please feel free to raise your hand or put something in the chat. But I wanted to ask you, so you launched it a little while ago and then it's been around. And I was just curious as to what reception either Clear Channel have had, or the any comments or hits on the website that you've created, etc. What feedback you've had.
Yeah, we've had great feedback. It's been really well received. Obviously, the campaign launched, it ran for 2 weeks prior to World Menopause Day. And we did a kind of social campaign alongside the out of home campaign. And the feedback we've had has been brilliant. I mean, actually, we just had some feedback today, which I think well, it's kind of moving actually. So someone just messaged us saying this series of posts from um, our social handle has literally made me book a doctor's appointment. So I think kind of that for us is a real big win. If actually someone just learns something and it inspires them to do something or go to the doctor or check something out or whatever it might be, that for us is like a big tick. We've certainly the participants themselves, there's been one of the things that I love, and we love at Improper when we do these kind of community-based campaigns, is that you're working with people directly. You're kind of hearing those stories. It's not just about showing them on this kind of big out of home campaign, but you're also there. We do the shoot. We meet everyone. We hear all their stories. There's a real kind of feeling of camaraderie and kind of, I guess, this excitement around, here's a platform, this is something we can all share, something we can all be part of. And I think even just that localized impact of people having that opportunity to go, yeah, actually this is my story, and it's brave to do it, right, to kind of to share and to expose yourself in some ways, but to see people like really enthusiastic to do that and be part of it and go, I want to do this, and encourage others to do it too, is very powerful.
That's amazing. Oh, thank you. So it's really heartening to hear the story as well.